Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. Been out for a while, but I wanted to come back and do a Raw review this morning from last night. That would have been April 28th, 2025. Not as good as last week. Didn't expect it to be. It wasn't awful. Wasn't great. Hit somewhere in the middle with me. Anyway, started off, Seth Rollins come out to the ring with Breakker and Heyman, and, he comes out, and Sami Zayn's music hits, and Sami comes out, and I'm immediately like, what is going on? You guys know I'm not a Sami Zayn fan. But anyway, Sami comes out and kind of trashes him. He doesn't understand. Again, this was a little, I don't know, this was a little stupid to me. But I'm like, okay, I guess I'll wait, see where this leads. I don't know where this is going. But he pretty much tells Seth tells Sami to make a choice. That he's either with him or he's a target. And Braun really wants to break him in half. And if he's either with him or against him, and if he's gonna be if he's not gonna be with him, he's a target. And so he's giving him a choice that Paul Heyman's pulled strings like Paul Heyman does, apparently. And apparently Paul Heyman's God in WWE. Has all the say, he can do anything he wants. Which, I mean, he did with the Bloodline, so I understand where that goes. That got brought up a lot tonight. The word Bloodline got brought up quite a few times tonight. Anyway, so tells him that he pretty much either he's gonna get broken by Braun, or he's gonna have to go to SmackDown and take and get an immediate. Heyman has made it to where he can get an immediate the world title shot at whoever wins the Orton Cena match at Backlash. So, and we all know Sami Zayn well enough to know he's not doing any of that crap. But anyway, you go in, and of course they're going to make us wait to the end of the night to get this decision. So Sami's got all night to think about it, blah, 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 blah. Again, started off this way, I immediately was like, okay, look, I love the Seth Rollins, Braun Breakker. These are two of my favorite guys. The fact that they're together with Heyman makes it even better. I'm not a Sami guy. I've never have been. I never will be. I don't get Sami Zayn. I don't like Sami Zayn. I think he's Hacksaw Jim Duggan 2025. I'm just not a fan of Sami. I never have been. I never will be. No disrespect to Sami. I'm just not a Sami guy. Just saying. Anyway, and here's the thing: is like when they come out, when Seth and Braun, but rewind back to the beginning, when Seth and Braun and Heyman are coming out, dude, the crowd is cheering. And when Seth gets in the ring and starts talking, like, he even mentioned CM Punk. And he mentioned CM Punk, and there's nothing. Now, normally, you get the CM Punk cheers, and he did mention Roman, and he got a couple, OTC cheers. But, I mean, dude, this is just not working out. First off, the fan base is so dumb. Like, this fan base is so dumb. They cheer for the ones they're not supposed to cheer for. They boo the ones they're not supposed to boo. Like, they're all over the place, man. The fans are heels. And they don't even know it. They're dumb. They're dumb. The fan base is stupid. The people that are in these arenas, I don't understand it, man. I don't get it. Anyway, so we go into the next segment. Rhea Ripley is having a match, which is crazy. She's actually fighting on Raw, which I was she's fighting Roxanne Perez. And I'm thinking, Rhea's having a match on Raw? What? Like, when did this happen? So, kudos to that. Julia comes out. I love seeing these NXT. Tonight was a big NXT night. There was multiple segments with NXT in it. But I love that. I love that Julia came out. She actually ends up interfering in the match. Io would come out to save the day. I'm thinking maybe we're setting up for a tag match with Rhea and Io versus Roxanne and Julia, maybe. I don't know if that'll happen at Backlash, because after tonight's over, we've literally got at least 4 matches set up, maybe even 5 for Backlash already in 2 weeks. And wow, I mean, it happened fast. And Backlash is the week after next, so I mean, they had to do it, and you're only really gonna have room because Triple H likes to do a 5-match PLE. We've got 4 matches set up already after the night's over, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But like, there's, we've already got the Cena as of this moment. Before I go any further with the video, going into this, we already had the Cena Orton match set up. So that was one. But tonight we literally got a few matches set in stone for Backlash. But this one does not include in that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this tag match between Rhea and Io against Roxanne and Julia. That could be next week on Raw, week after, whatever. I think that's a Raw match. We even have, don't forget, in May we're getting a Saturday night main event, so that could happen there. Anyway, but these stories are happening, guys, and this is why I'm like I'm not upset about last night. I don't think it was great, but I certainly don't think it sucked. I sit somewhere in the middle. I give it a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I'm not over the moon about it, but it certainly didn't suck. And the good thing is we got stories and we have things moving on to Backlash. And that's what, that's what I'm always going to go back to. As long as I've got stories, as long as you're telling me a story, I'm good. And I feel like that's happening a little bit. And some of these stories are stupid. Like I said, the Sami Zayn thing, whatever. Maybe that's setting up something down the line. I don't know. But either way. Anyway, then we had, after that, that was a DQ, by the way, because Julia interfered. And, but it looks like they're setting up a tag match with those 4 women. Then we go into a Judgment Day segment in the back. Finn Balor keeps getting left out, apparently. He calls JD over, asks him, "Hey man, why didn't you tell me you were coming back?" And JD's like, "My bad, I told Dom, I thought that would get back to you." Finn's not understanding that, because JD and Finn are buds, man. They go back. They've been friends longer than anybody else in that group. So, and I was kind of like, wow, that is kind of messed up. But I see where they're going with this. This is all about leaving Finn out, because we all know Finn's leaving Judgment Day. We know that's going to happen eventually. And then Liv gets involved in the conversation, because she has apparently set JD and Finn Balor up with a number 1 tag title contender match with the War Raiders. And Balor, of course, is like, "What is this? I didn't know anything about this." And she's like, "Yeah, my bad, it slipped my mind, blah, 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 blah." See, they're leaving Finn out, okay? So anyway, that match is going to happen tonight, and they're going to have this number 1 contendership title match tonight against the War Raiders. Then they go into then we go to Logan Paul, Jey Uso segment. Logan Paul comes out. Of course, he's wondering why the crowd is booing him, as if they wouldn't. Of course, Jey Uso comes out. And, y'all know how I feel about this. And I'm thinking, Logan lately hasn't been fantastic on the mic, but Logan is better on the microphone than Jey is. But then again, everybody's better than Jey Uso on the microphone. Okay? It is what it is. I just didn't feel great about this segment. Of course, Jey gets one over on him, as he would. We know Jay's not going to be... This match at Backlash makes sense. This is another Backlash match now, so now we're up to 2. Backlash for these two, it doesn't make, and I'm not mad at this. We know Jay's going to win. This gives Jay a win with the title because I figure Jay's going to lose that title between now and SummerSlam. The longest he goes is SummerSlam with this title. I honestly believe that title's going back to Seth Rollins. It's just a matter of time. So he'll hold it. And then at some point, obviously, Seth's coming, and he's going to get that title back. But, Jay will win. Jay will beat Logan Paul at Backlash, and we'll go from there. So I've got to deal with it as a Logan Paul fan. It is what it is. It's another one of them things. I'm just hoping that's what's funny, too, is I bet that's not a main event. I'll move on. Royal Raiders versus JD and Balor for the number one contendership was next. The Raiders got the win. New Day was on commentary, which I thought was the best part of the entire match. I love New Day Hill. I love them Hill. Didn't really know them much because I wasn't watching wrestling much at all when they were, face. But I love them as Hills. I love the way they talk. I love the way they get under the skin of so many people. I love that they were sitting out there with Cole and McAfee because Cole and McAfee drive me crazy. But I love that dynamic. I love New Day Hill, man. I really, really hope they hold the titles for a while and don't give them up anytime soon. That's what I'm hoping for. Then we had, in that match, that tag team number one contendership match, Penta actually came out, pushed JD off the turnbuckle, and looks like there's going to be some sort of match now between Penta's getting involved now with Judgment Day is what I'm getting at. So I'm anxious to see where that goes. Heyman has a segment in the back with Sammy. A lot of bloodline talk in this conversation, even though he even says there at the end, I didn't come here to talk about the bloodline. Seems like that's what it was about. They talked about their run-ins with, their connections with the bloodline versus what's happening now. And then, Heyman's pretty much telling him, he's got to make this choice and blah, 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 blah. Well, as Heyman's leaving, you see Braun standing there. Dude, the spray tan thing is ridiculous. I just want that out there, too. Anyway, Braun kind of smiles, and they kind of give each other eye contact on the way out the door. Again, just leaving you in suspense about what's about to happen with Sammy. Blah, 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 blah. Then we go Becky Lynch segment. Becky comes out. She's yelling, screaming, pretty much, fussing because she made a pact with Lyra, and Lyra made a pact with Becky. With Bayley. And, Bayley and Becky do not get along. She didn't like that. She thought that was wrong with Lyra to go to Bayley like that. And anyway, who cares? This is a story, so I ain't fussing about it. I just don't care for it, Anyway, so that was another thing during this segment. Like when they're yelling back and forth at each other, they're gonna fight each other at Backlash, okay? And because Lyra was like, "Let's fight tonight," and of course Becky was like, "No, Kansas City doesn't deserve it." Blah blah blah. Yeah, you're right. You're too good for Kansas City. This, that, and the other. They're doing this hoopla back and forth at each other. And and Lyra's like, "Well, then why don't we fight at Backlash?" And I guess you're going to say no unless I put my title on the line, and you got it. Like, here's my thing. It's like, you're a champion. Don't just volunteer to put your title on the line. That's stupid. Like, this is dumb. Why would you do that? Like, I just don't get that at all. Like, you just openly and just, throw a match out there and say, "Oh, I'll fight you at Backlash, and I'll put my title on the line." That's just stupid. Let her ask for it. Let her say, "Put your title on the line." Let her do that. Let her take you there. Don't do that. Don't just volunteer your title up. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. That's so stupid. That kind of stuff wouldn't have happened back in the day. I hate to sound like an old man, but this back in my day, that would not have gone down like that. It just wouldn't have. This is dumb. So I didn't really care for that segment, but hey, again, it is a story, and I'm following along. And here we go with another Backlash match set up. So then we go into Nick Aldis in the back with Penta. Next week, you're going to have Penta fighting JD. McDonough, okay? McRib, McFish, whatever you want to call him. That's happening next week. So then you have Chad Gable and Ivy Nile come up, and then you have a little Chad Gable and Penta segment come up. You know, they're talking, Chad's talking trash, and Penta's giving it back to him, and then he mentions his his brother losing to El Grande or Americano, whatever his name is, at WrestleMania, and boom, Penta kicks him in the face. End of story. Then you got this Rusev promo. This was boring. He's fighting Otis next week, apparently. I don't care. I'm not getting into this. I just thought this was boring. I feel like he'll be gone in a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, but I just don't know where they're going to go with this dude. And my son told me that apparently he was a Triple H guy, and years ago, Vince came in, and that was pretty much it for this dude, and he took off to AEW. And now Triple H is back running the company, so this guy's back. So we'll see. He may not be out of here, but after hearing that and getting educated for that with him, I'll see where this goes, but I don't really care. This guy just doesn't do anything for me. And is he heel? Is he face? Because he came out and beat up the Alpha Academy last week, and he's doing this today on the promo, last night on the promo. So I don't know what's going on with this dude. I'm not excited with it. So we'll give it a minute. Stephanie Valkyrie versus Ivy Nile was the next match. Stephanie is freaking awesome, dude. She's an NXT Women's Champion. She is a beast. I can't wait till she's on the main roster. I'm kind of hoping they do what they did with Kevin Owens back in the day, where he was literally NXT champion and he was going after Cena on the main roster. So I'm kind of hoping they do that with him. I mean, with her, she's awesome. This match was probably one of the best matches of the night. I love Ivy Nile. I just hate that I don't remember the last time she won, if she's ever won. Somebody leave that down below if you know if she's won a match, because man, I don't ever remember her winning, and I hate that for her because she is awesome. I think the world of Ivy Nile. I think she's great, but I mean, I ain't mad at her here. Stephanie is a beast. Again, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the night. Great match. Bring Stephanie on, man. Let's do it. Nick Aldis is in the back with AJ Styles. AJ's they're kind of talking out, and then Liv, Dom, and Raquel come up. Apparently, Liv is leaving to go make a movie for a while, and that was approved. Dom says this is funny, dude. Dom says he needs some time off too. And Nick's like, for what? And he was like, because I'm the IC champion. I can do whatever I want to do. And Nick Aldis says, this is funny. That means you being the IC champion, that means you have to work more. Dude, Roman Reigns got to be watching this laughing. Any champion has to be watching this laughing, because I've been saying it here on this channel forever. Like, once you win a belt, you're gone. You're nowhere to be found. So for Nick to say that, dude, I laughed so hard when he said that. I'm like, dude, this is vacation time for Dom. He won a title. You're not going to see him. Champions don't fight on this show. Champions do not fight here. They don't. I don't know, it was hilarious. So it looks like we're going to end up, though, it looks like, because AJ said, after they all walk off, AJ says he has an idea. Nick says, I think I know where you're going with this. Look for an AJ Styles Dom Intercontinental Championship match coming. I don't think that's probably going to be at Backlash, because we're already at 4 matches. Or, sorry, 3 up to now. 3. One's coming behind this. That's going to put us at 4. So I don't see that one happen. That's probably going to be a Saturday Night Live main event match, maybe. But we'll see where that goes. Then Sammy's walking around on the back carrying Cross. Love the carrying Cross sighting. Guys, you know I love carrying. Just makes, remark about him having to make this choice, and it better make the right one. Not a very long segment, very short. You guys, I'm glad, I don't know what they're doing with Carry On, but I'm glad he's on the show, and I don't care if it's a 30-second segment, I don't care, I'm just glad he's on it. He deserves to be on the show. He deserves a bigger part. But the fact that they're giving him this little bit and putting him on there, I'm good with it. I just hope it leads to more. Anyway, then you had the McAfee segment, which is, to guys, here's my opinion on McAfee, because y'all know I love football, y'all know I love sports, and I'm a sports guy. But here's my thing, because I love McAfee show, okay? I don't really care for McAfee on on Raw, okay? I'm not a McAfee fan. Now, when I first started watching last year, when I came back to wrestling and I noticed he was on at the table, I was okay with it because I'm a McAfee guy. And then I'm like, okay, yeah. But the longer I watch it, the more I realize he's another Michael Cole. All he does is kiss the good guys' butts and trash the bad guys. Well, that's what Cole does. We don't need two of the same person at the table. That's why SmackDown's table is so much better, in my opinion, because you got Joe Tessitore and you got Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett kind of leans towards the Hill guys and gives you that other state of mind where you don't get that with the Coles and the Joe Tessitores. You don't get that. So they bring that. Wade Barrett brings that other dynamic. What it doesn't make any sense to me for McAfee to go the same route Cole does. It makes it less interesting. I know McAfee's it's a star-stunned thing, like he's a superstar. Everybody knows who he is. I totally understand that and I get that. But it makes it less appealing when he's doing the same thing Cole's doing. There's like two best friends up there just talking at the table, and like they both have the same opinion about everything. Nobody's different. They're the same. They don't argue about anything. They don't debate about anything. It's the same. You got two of the same people at the table, and it's just boring. Anyway, back to what the segment was about. McAfee gets up there and he's talking about how let me just cut this short. He's talking about loyalty, right? He's standing on the table. He's talking about Kansas City, right? And he's like, "This is the best place for me to make this announcement. I want to talk a little bit about who I am because I forgot who I was, and blah 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 blah." And he's doing this whole spiel about who he is, where he came from, and about loyalty, right? And he's all about big on loyalty because the week before, Gunther had come out there and Michael Cole had said some things, and they were going back and forth, and McAfee stood up for Cole, right? That's what this is all about, and he ended up getting choked out by Gunther, right? So now McCaffrey's like, I'm challenging Gunther. I want Nick Aldis to come out here and lift the suspension from Gunther and let him come back so I can get my hands on him. Blah blah blah. Nick comes out and pretty much tells him, no, we're not doing that, but yes, we are. It was kind of stupid. And then, but we're going to do it, and you can have him at Backlash. You guys will have a match at Backlash. There's your fourth match, right? So now you're getting Pat McAfee versus Gunther at Backlash. I'm not against this match. I don't know how this is going to go. Guys, I've been saying they've been killing Gunther storyline-wise since Crown Jewel. It's not getting any better. I don't know what this does. Honestly, I don't know. This could make it or break it. But I do think more positive than I do negative about this upcoming match. Believe it or not, I do think that this could actually put. This is kind of a thing where Gunther would kind of get, if Gunther comes out and just smashes him, then because I think that's got to be what happens. Because if you make McAfee look anything good versus Gunther, you're hurting him even more. You've already done enough damage to Gunther since Crown Jewel. You really don't want to do this too. Like, if you come out there and you have McAfee actually look anything decent against Gunther, Gunther's dead. Gunther's gone. There's no saving him. He's buried, and there's no getting that back. You know, he might as well just pack his bags up and go to AEW. Like, for real. I don't know what you're going to do with him. So you can't make him look good against McAfee. But that, again, I'm waiting to see what happens, and we'll go from there. Then you had Jey Uso versus Sammy in the back. I'm not even going to get into this. It was just a hoopla. Who cares? Because that went right into the Seth Rollins. That went right into Seth Rollins coming out, calling Sammy out, wanting the decision. And of course, we all knew what was going to happen. You know, Sammy's not giving in. He's not being threatened. He's not doing any of that crap. And we all know Sammy's character to know he was never going to take this choice. He was never going to jump ship and go to SmackDown to avoid getting his butt kicked by Breakker. It was just never going to happen. But what I didn't realize was they were going to turn this into a match. And you had Braun Breaker versus Sammy. And it was good. It was decent. You know, obviously, we know how this was going to turn out. Braun Breaker ended up beating the mess out of him. And at one point, Sammy's beaten to death, and he's laying there, and Seth Rollins is looking at him like, you know, it's still not too late. You know, go to SmackDown, make the right choice. Sammy tells him to go to hell. And, you know, Breaker just beats the mess out of him. And that's kind of where Raw ended. And, again, not a terrible show. Not a great show. It was somewhere in the middle. I think this is more tonight. Last night was more along the lines of setting up for Backlash. I felt like it was setting the story for Backlash, and they dumped it all in one night. I mean, we're gonna find out Friday on SmackDown. I guess we'll probably get another match or two, maybe. You know, Triple H likes this 5-match PLE thing. We might get 6 because I feel like you might get 2 matches set on Friday, but again, keep in mind, we've also got that Saturday Night Live main event happening in May. Anyway, so that was Raw last night. Again, not great, not bad, somewhere in the middle. Guys, I've had a lot happen in my life over the last week, so I'm kind of getting my bearings straight, trying to get life back on track. But it's been a rough one. And then we had the NFL draft. If you want me to, I'll do a video on that. I thought we had a fantastic draft. Go Birds. But you know, I didn't turn off the TV last night thinking, wow, great show, but I didn't turn off going, what am I doing? Because that's normally what I've been doing here for the last couple of months is I turn off the TV, whether it be Raw or SmackDown, and I'm like, what am I even doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I watching this garbage? I could be doing something else more productive than watching these guys. This is terrible. You know, last night it wasn't that way. It was okay. They're setting up stories. They're doing what I want them to do. Even if I don't like the story, I see where they're going, and I see they're trying. They're trying. And then behind the scenes, you've got this whole Triple H Rock deal. You know, there's turmoil going on there. It seems like there's more happening behind the scenes than on the show. You got more stories happening behind the camera than you do in front of it. There's a problem. You turn on the TV today, you're either getting Shador Sanders or Rock and Triple H. Turn on my YouTube, there's 2 things on there. Shador Sanders, conversation from Colorado, get picked in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns, or Triple H and The Rock, you know, with their crap going on behind it. And apparently there's going to be a new podcast that Bischoff and Hogan are doing. I've been seeing a lot of segments with that. There's been a lot of talk about that. I love Bischoff, but I'm Hogan. I just don't. Everything that comes out of his mouth is garbage. So I don't. I'll listen to Bischoff all day, but I'm not. That's the only thing about that podcast is like I ain't listening to Hogan. You know, because you already have to take what Bischoff says with a grain of salt. Now I'm going to have to do that with Hogan sitting beside him or something like that. Anyway, I'm 30 minutes in, guys. I'm going to let this one go. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Leave a thumbs up for me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. I'm sorry I've been out all week, but I'm back. I'm officially back. I love you guys. I've missed y'all, and I look forward to the next one. Y'all have a good one.